Good morning, everyone. Softball Grandpa here, rich alcoholic addict, recovering alcoholic addict. Yesterday's word of the day and topic was pain. Well, today, what are we going to talk about? Well, I'm going to talk about pleasure. That's typically the opposite of pain. Pain is discomfort, pleasure is comfort. And I don't know why I came up with this, but you got to look. I'll tell you why. Because I was talking about the pain, and back in '81, when I was going to physical therapy after I had I crushed my wrist. And just so you know, when I crushed my wrist, they put pins through my wrist like this. They were literally sticking out. There's holes where you could see, here, and then here. And they were going all the way through my wrist like this, and they put a cast on it. I wore that cast for 12 weeks, and when I went to the orthopedic, he took the cast off, and he literally cut with a bolt cutter the pin off on one side. They took a vice grip on the other side and pulled the damn thing out. And without holy cannoli, oh, did that hurt? I said, yeah. Then they gave me some gas or something for, and then I was going to physical therapy and stuff, after everything was said and done. That's the physical therapy. There was a sign in the physical therapist's office that said, no pain, no gain. It's like I had to get through the pain, go through the pain, before I got, to the gain, to the other side. I hated that sign. And I would drive from Temple City to Northridge to go to physical therapy, and I would smoke a joint and drink 3 beers at 8 o'clock in the morning just to go to physical therapy. And on the way home, I would smoke a joint and drink the other 3 beers of the 6-pack, on the way home. And one day, there was 2 physical therapists. The girl looked like Cheryl Teagues, and she would crank. Oh shit, that hurt. She would crank on my wrist, and like, and then she'd rub it. Oh God, she was absolutely beautiful. And the other guy, one day, he was cranking on my wrist. He said, "Dude, you smell like a brewery." We went out in the hallway, and I gave him a line of Coke, and we smoked a joint. No pain, no gain. That's what I'm finding in my life. That there's some, everything. There's a cost for everything. And for every action there's a reaction, and it depends what I put inside my body or what I do to my body. That I'm going to have a reaction. If you drink too much alcohol, you get sick. You eat some bad food, you get sick. And if you eat good food, you get healthy, I guess, hopefully. So I don't know where I'm going with this, but, pain, it does suck, but, like I said yesterday, I can't let pain control my life, so I have learned how to deal with it in different ways. Even when I get a sniffle, and I can feel like the onset of a cold, I tell myself, no, you're not going to get sick. It's mind over matter. And I truly believe that there is, you could think yourself well, not, I don't know how to spell it. I'm not a English teacher, I'm not a philosopher. I'm not nothing. I'm a carpenter. I'm a woodologist. And I know how to fix problems. Especially in construction. And I was a good superintendent, I thought. And when I became an inspector, I just have to point the problems out. I don't have to fix them. That was pleasurable. It's life's choices. The Giants won. Yeah, there's pleasure there. Yeah. The Dodgers won too. I'm not gonna. I don't wish them ill will. I talked to my older brother yesterday, and he has a bunch of money on the Dodgers. So good for him. Maybe if he wins, he'll take me to Vegas or something. Give me a couple $100 to play poker. He doesn't want to play poker with me because it might be painful for him. But I play video poker. I have the World Series of Poker app on my phone, and I got a couple $200 million or something. Only if it was real cash, and then that'd be really pleasurable, huh? But you know what? You can't buy happiness. You can't buy pleasure. I guess you could. Go get some ladies of the night or something. But there might be some pain after that too. So like I say, there's a cost for everything. And for me too, just so everybody knows, I did go through the steps of AA, and there was pleasure at the end. It was painful doing it. Making amends to my ex-wife was probably emotionally one of the most painful things I ever did. And I truly meant it, and that's what my sponsor told me, because I didn't understand why it was so painful. And he says, "Well, you meant it," and it made sense to me, So, and I wish her all well and stuff. And there's two sides to every story, but I took care of my side of the street. And that's what I have to do. I can't worry about. Well, I did, and I'm guilty of this too. Like somebody was tailgating me about a month or so ago, and I was not in a good mood, and I gave him the one finger salute, and I kind of yelled at him, saying, "Puck off," but that's just me. But anyway, happy April 1st, Wednesday, full moon. Go Giants, Dodgers. You know what to do. Go the opposite of whatever you did last night. Hi, that's a good one. All right, talk to you. Love you all. Do something for somebody else for fun and for free because you want to, with no expectation in return. Love you all. See ya.